All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Fly and Ride here. In today's video, we're gonna do the 3-hole oil change on my 2020 Street Glide CVO that you see right there. And I'm gonna walk you through step by step the entire process, the tools that you need, all of the parts that you need that are recommended to do this completely by yourself. And we're gonna do that in today's video. If you're new here, I'm Fly and Ride, and on this channel, I focus on motovlogs, ride videos, ride reviews, all on my 2020 Street Glide CVO that you see right there, and on my 2022 BMW R1250 GS that you see right there. And we do all things here on the channel. We do destination rides, group rides, product upgrades, product reviews, services like we're gonna do here today, all things here on the channel. So do me a favor, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell notification so you can be reminded of future content like this one. All right, so look, I know what you're probably thinking. There's 1,000 videos of how to change the oil by yourself. This is a 3-hole change, so we're gonna do primary, transmission, and engine oil. And I've been able to actually watch some of my friends do it on their own. As a matter of fact, I recorded a video a while ago in Nadal's house that I referenced, and I'm gonna leave up here in case you wanted to check that video out. So what I thought I would do in this one though is I'm doing it completely by myself. If you don't know, I am the least mechanically inclined individual that you know. So if I can do this on my own, anybody can do it. And so in this video, again, I'm gonna show you everything. We're gonna walk through it, and we're gonna just do the complete job. And I'm gonna walk you step by step what I think is the best way to complete this 3-hole oil change by yourself at home. All right, so first, let me show you all the things that you need, all the things that I have for the oil change, the oil that I'm using, etc. So obviously you need a good tool set. You have it right here. You're gonna need a torque wrench. All of those bolts have to be torqued at 19 foot-pounds of torque, and you got to make sure you don't over tighten it because it'll be really important. I've got a great sort of a cleaner here for parts. So when you take the oil, filter off the bike, which we're going to do here in a minute, it gets pretty messy, and this gives you the ability to really clean up that bike thoroughly, because otherwise that stuff is going to get in there. It's going to sort of burn the oil. It's going to stink up the place. It's going to smoke, and I'd like to do a nice clean job. Of course, you need the nice tool that they sell in any Harley dealer to remove the oil filter. This funnel here is a piece. Again, you could buy it at any Harley dealer. This is needed to put the oil in the primary, and we're going to walk you through it here. I've got some thread sealant. So once we take the bolts off for the transmission and the engine oil, before we put them back on, after we clean it, we put some of this sealant on there just so that it seals appropriately. I've got red line. I really like this. This is for the transmission. This is for the primary. And then I'm using the Syn 3 fully synthetic lubricant 20W50 for my oil change. I've been running this now for several oil changes, and I absolutely love it. And of course, you're gonna need a good oil pan and a good funnel and lots of rags because it can get pretty messy here. And of course, I've got some gloves that I'm gonna use. The other important piece, and look, this is not something you have to do, but it's something I really think we should be doing. And again, I learned this from my buddy Nadal. Just get yourself this gasket kit so that when you actually change it out, you just go ahead and replace it, which again, I'm gonna show you all in this video. All right, so I've got this set up right here. I've got the cameras on for your viewing pleasure. I've got my own video there that I'm referencing. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is, look, I haven't ridden the bike today because obviously it's been raining all day. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna warm up the engine. And why do we wanna do that? Because the oil will come out much easier once it is heated. Otherwise, it's thicker and it takes much longer to come out. So we're gonna start the bike up here. I'm actually gonna give you that cold start now. We're gonna let it warm up just the right amount of time, 3-5 minutes maximum. And then I'm gonna move it up here, and then I'm gonna use this Harbor Freight jack that I have here to lift the bike up just so slightly. And then we're gonna start doing the changes. And again, I'm gonna walk you through that process entirely. So let me give you a nice cold start real quick. Of course, I've got the exhaust pointing towards the outside. All right, we're gonna let that run let it get warmed up, and then we're gonna put it in position here and we're gonna start the process. Stay tuned. All right, so the bike is nice and warm. I've got the pan underneath. I've got my 5/8 socket right there, which is what you're gonna need. Let me show you here what this looks like underneath. This one right here is for the engine oil. And then you got one back here. You see it right there. That's for the transmission. Engine oil, transmission. We're gonna open up those bad boys right now. By the way, one of the things that is really important that I just realized is this was loose. I mean, basically, I'm loosening it. I don't know if you can see it there with my hand. You see that? That's no bueno. It's a reminder that you gotta consistently be checking your bike at all times. There it is. It looks a little black. All right. I always like to inspect that. You can tell it's got some, see that gasket right there? This is why you got to replace it. That gasket's going bad already. And we've got a new one there that we will replace. How nice that's flowing in there. Once I opened it up here. All right, so we're gonna let that drain there. And then we'll do the transmission next. All right, so now the engine oil is done. Now we're gonna do the transmission oil. I'm gonna try to, that's where it goes right there. Make sure that tray is nice there and underneath. Nice. All right, see that gasket's gotta be replaced for sure. All right, so now we gotta remove the oil from the primary, and that's that bolt right there. So we're gonna loosen that up, let that drain while the other stuff is draining. Now the important part about this is the bike has to be, for the primary, the bike has to be flat, as you can tell. So I just put this on here and I'm holding it like that, so that way it drains completely. There it goes. That's looking a little darker than the other one. That's interesting. So I'm gonna give you a view from this side. You can tell the bike is perfectly upright. It's not leaning in, so that way all those oils are draining completely. And now the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the oil filter. And I'm gonna show you how I do that. All right, so let me show you here. See, I put that paper in there like that, and I used a screwdriver to get it in there all the way back so I can minimize the mess. And then we're just gonna unscrew that there and take it out. All right, so quick update here for you. So for whatever reason, this oil filter refuses to come out. So this is it's a different filter. It's not the Harley filter. I think it's the F&N. I forget which one it is. Anyway, this is stripping here. It's not giving enough leverage to actually loosen that filter there. So they sell the tool that goes around here. I don't have it here with me. So I'm gonna try to improvise here. You gotta put this on here. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do here and see if it works. And if this doesn't work, then I'm just gonna have to get that tool tomorrow. So, you know, obviously by the time you're seeing the video, I would have figured this out, but it's something for you to ultimately think about. This is why they recommend that you only hand tighten this, and then after you hand tighten it, you only do maybe a quarter turn at most afterwards. It doesn't need to be super tight. All right, so I've taken this screwdriver there and I've actually hammered it into the air filter. And then with this tool that comes for the stock filter, I'm gonna now use that screwdriver as a leverage point And then when I rotate this now with the wrench, I should be able to have enough leverage to actually rotate the oil filter. So let's see. Okay, so here's the update. This is the tool that you need. This is a universal oil filter removal tool. And this is, I think, the only thing that will work, because this is a custom filter. This is not your Harley filter where your traditional tool can work. And you can tell I've tried, putting in a screwdriver in there to see if I can actually rotate it. Nothing has worked up to this point. So now we're gonna try this tool, and it should work. So let me show you that here, and let's see if we can get this thing off. All right, so let me show you this. This is how I finally got it to freaking move. Let me tell you, this thing was freaking stuck in there. If it wasn't for that tool, I can tell you, I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to rotate there. If it wasn't for that tool, this thing would not be coming out. All right, let me finish taking this thing out, and then we'll start filling the liquids and putting this back together. Oil, all right, so oil filter is out, as you can tell. But of course, some oil got in there. Some of it got in the wires. You can tell it's sort of coming underneath there. Now, what I like to do is I like to use this electric parts cleaner to spray in there and start to clean some of that oil out of there as much as I possibly can. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. You can use a rag or some paper towel, but this is good. It's not too hard on the surfaces. No staining, leaves no residue, but it does the job in cleaning up some of that oil. Do that now. Spray that around there. Now I'm gonna wipe it down real quick. All right, quick update. Primary cover is off. Show you that right there. And then of course, that stubborn oil filter is finally out. And I'm gonna show you the new filter that I just went with and why I went with this filter. And then sort of where I am with the process, and that's it. We're almost done. Let me show you here real quick. This is the new oil filter by Flow. And you can tell right out of the gate, this is dramatically different than this filter, which is what comes from Harley. So we're not gonna install this one. We're gonna install this upgraded version. And I'm gonna tell you why specifically this filter by Flow is so much better than going with a traditional filter that you either get from Harley or wherever else. So number one, with this particular one, you get consistent filtering across the entire surface area, and the flow rate is about 7 times greater than any paper filter. It's got magnetic pre-filtering. The billet aluminum filter case doubles as an oil cooler. And as a matter of fact, one of the main advantages that this oil filter provides is that apparently it lowers the temperature by 10 degrees. Now that's allegedly, I haven't measured it and we're not gonna measure that here, but it is an important point. I know a lot of my buddies have it. They've done a lot of research, they've worked with this company, and they stand behind their product and their stats. So the other reason is the progressive rate bypass combined with the high flow characteristics of the filter media avoids unfiltered oil bypassing the filter during cold startup and high RPM. And that's incredibly, incredibly important. And then also, the drilled wrench nut allows for easy removal and safety wire required at most racetracks. I'm not necessarily going to be using that, but also it's reusable and it's very, very easy to take off and take on. We're just going to hand tighten that. Well, first of all, we're going to prep this. We're going to charge this right now, and then we'll put it on. After we do that, we're going to use the. I've already used this Harley Davidson kit that comes with for all oil changes, and I have replaced the seal on all of the bolts to cover the 3 holes. And I've also replaced the seal on the primary cover. Now, it was in good condition, but I did not want to take any chances. This is the new seal already done. So we're going to use our hand to tighten it. And then it tells you right here in the instructions, and you can see it there, torque the filter to 15 pounds of torque. Now, if you don't have a torque, you basically tighten it, and when you reach that limit, you do a quarter turn with the hand, and that should suffice, because this creates a seal. And really, really important, you do not want to have the same issue that you just saw in this video. It was freaking super hard to take off. And if it wasn't for that special tool and a lot of force, it just would not come off. And you definitely don't want to have that issue in the future. It's one of the biggest, frankly, it's what delayed this entire process. Otherwise, this is easily a 30 to 40 minute job maximum. And again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. All right, so let me charge this thing up, and then I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna put it on the bike. Pretty standard from this point forward. One other point that I forgot to mention, which I also think is a great sort of tip, is using thread sealant for these bolts before you put them back on. So I'm gonna spread some of this here, here, and here, and then we'll put them back on. Again, these are just some of the tips that I think you're gonna see here in this video that I haven't necessarily seen on some of the other videos, and special thanks to Mr. Nadal Sr. for that tip and that recommendation. Now we're gonna put this bad boy in here. Goes in like that by hand. Okay, that's it. It's that easy. I think that looks pretty cool too. It's a different look. Now we're gonna use a torque wrench and put it at 15 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so all of the plugs are back in. We're gonna start putting in a full 4 quarts of our synthetic 3 20W50 oil right in there. And then we'll do the transmission, and then we'll do the primary last. Filter's already in, as you saw, and then we're gonna start it right up. The first gallon is in, and we usually put a gallon and a little bit more. But first we're gonna start the bike after we put the other fluids in, and then we'll see how it measures, and then I'll top it off with a little bit more. Now I'm gonna do the primary. This calls for 30 ounces. I've already measured 2 ounces here. Okay, so there's 32 ounces in here. Called for 30 ounces, took out the 2 ounces there, and now we're gonna put the primary. Let's pour that bad boy in there. It's a nice color. And then I'll show you, hopefully you'll be able to see it here, the level. Of course, you want to make sure that the bike is not on the side stand, straight and level. I'll show you what it looks like here. Yeah, you know what? I think it still needs a little bit more, because usually it comes up to right up to here, and I don't necessarily see it there yet. Let me see with the light. Well, actually, it's right there, right up to the plate. Actually, that's perfect. You can see it right there. All right. We're gonna close that bad boy up, and then we're gonna do the transmission. Oil change is complete, and now the moment of truth. Let's give it the first start. Let's go. so the job is finally complete. She is all ready to go. Brand new fluids, all 3 holes. Highly recommend it. The bike has 11,000 miles. Last time I did the change was about 3,000 miles ago. I like to do it every 3,000 miles. That's just my personal preference, but certainly you can follow the guidelines that they give you at the dealer or anywhere else for you to do it. But look, as you saw from the video, really easy to do it. I wanted to do the video because there are some tips here that I showed you here that I don't necessarily see in some of the other videos. So hopefully you found that helpful if you're considering to do this by yourself. And again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. The biggest challenge that I had, and it really has to do with how tight that oil filter goes in there. All I did was hand tighten it, and then I used the wrench to do a 1/4 inch to the right, and that's it. If it wasn't for that, this would have been basically a 20 to a 30-minute job, and that's it. But all in all, super easy. Anybody can do it. Highly recommended that you give it a shot. And there's just something about, doing something yourself for the bike that I just absolutely enjoy, even if I'm not the most mechanically inclined individual there is out there. So look, that's gonna do it for this video. By the way, I took it for a ride, and then after I came back from the ride, when the engine was nice and hot, I went in and I measured the oil again, and in fact, it did need a little bit more. I topped it off, and I have it right at the level that it needs to be. So do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so you can be reminded of future content like this one. Thanks for watching.